am Nolan Kelly here with Alex Awesomeo Baker, and we are breaking down the Yahoo Dollar Baller slate and the Yahoo DFS Sunday slate. Alex, what's going on?
Not a whole lot, man. Excited for another week. I think we got some really good games this time to break down. So I think we'll have a good chance at splitting the baller here with our viewers. I think last week we cashed, so it was all right, but we definitely do
Did we
better this
cash?
time.
I can't remember.
Yeah, we cashed one of the two lineups, so all in
Beauty.
all, broke even, which actually isn't bad because I mean a lot of times on sites when you cash, so much money
You
goes
lose.
to first that you lose if you only cash half the time. But on Yahoo, you win your money back.
Oh my God. It's just one more added benefit of playing on Yahoo, which is my favorite site to play on these days. We also, I should say, before we get started, our NFL DFS projections are free today. We're releasing one piece of free content every day. Stop on by the site. You can go to awesomeo.com. Up in the toolbar at the top, it's under NFL, daily fantasy football, and the projections, and you can get them and just have a little look and see what's going on. Tell us a little bit about Yahoo and why we should be playing on there, Alex.
Yeah, I think that the main reason is you'll just make more money on Yahoo because the competition is a lot easier than on DraftKings and FanDuel. DraftKings and FanDuel, they have a lot of liquidity, so there's a lot of money to be won on those sites, and it attracts all these high volume players that are pretty sharp. So if you're gonna have any chance, you gotta really beat out a tough competition. But on Yahoo, um, it's a little bit more player friendly because that's what they're going for, and you have a much better chance of beating the competition over the long run. So that'd be my place I recommend to play first.
I like it. So you can head on over to awesomeo.com. We have a weekly article written by your pal Emac. It is called the Yahoo 250K Baller. It's on our main page. If you click on that and you haven't played on Yahoo before, there's a link in there. You can click on it, go to that. Use promo code Awesomeo. You get $30 in YSRP redeemable Yahoo dollars. So head on over, check it out. Let's get into this slate. What are you seeing so far? Anything standing out to you? Our boy Leonard Fournette's been priced up a little bit, but he's still probably a good play. Any general thoughts on it?
It's hard to not go back to the wall on Fournette. I mean, he's been getting elite amounts of volume, and Jacksonville's a team that loves to run the ball. So he's won me some money so far, and I don't see any reason to jump off the train now.
Oh, I'm not seeing. Did you reject my? We're in a Yahoo season long league, and you rejected my generous trade offer of Leonard Fournette for Ezekiel Elliott.
Honestly, I was tempted, but last week Zeke had a little bounce back. It gave me a little hope, so hoping that he'll justify my number 5 draft pick this year.
I like it. All right. Let's break down some of these games to start. Here's what we do every week. We go through some of the higher total games. We talk about some of the top plays from those games, and then we build a couple. We build a cash lineup, and we build a couple GPP lineups, just to kind of give you an idea about the process and about how Awesomeo does it on YouTube or on Yahoo. As well, you cannot upload CSVs on Yahoo, so you got to hand build, which is great for the casual player as well. Less pros spending that time building all of those lineups. So let me just pull up the Yahoo daily fantasy site here. I'm a little bit behind. All right, so let's dive in. First game of the day, highest total of the week, 54.5 total. The LA Rams visiting the Atlanta Falcons. What are you seeing here?
Man, that's just an insane total. 54.75. I mean, that's unheard of. It might be the highest one of the year. And both teams are projected highly. Atlanta even has 26 points projected. Rams at 28. So I think that game of the week potential here for sure.
Absolutely, yes. So what are we seeing? We have Jalen Ramsey coming in for the LA Rams. I'm assuming he's going to play. Ben Ross and I were just talking about this, and I think like generally what they did is they kept Talib to one side of the field and Peters to the other side of the field. So we might not see him shadow Julio Jones as well. Like we've seen Julio Jones beat top cornerbacks before. He's a little bit banged up though. So we have Cooper Kupp $32, Julio 31, and then there's a bit of a pricing break. Woods, Ridley, Cook, Sanu, all a little bit cheaper. Who are you liking out of this group of receivers in this game?
Man, so Cooper Kupp, $32. I like Cooper Kupp, but that's pretty expensive, especially when he's more than Julio Jones. I mean, that's insane, right?
Yeah.
So I think
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I think I'd look to maybe Cooks and Woods for a little bit of a cheaper price. I mean, they're not doing as well as Kupp this season, but they're not. I mean, they're 2/3 the price, and I think they're a lot better than 66% of Kupp's effectiveness.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Right now, we have Cooper Kupp projected for 15.46 points on Yahoo. Robert Woods 11.97 and Cooks 11.78. You can get yourself a pretty cheap stack if you were to do the Goff Woods Cooks stack, like we saw work so often previously last year. What about this Atlanta side of the ball? It's kind of tough to figure out where this ball is going. It looks like it's really obvious. It's Julio Jones and it's Austin Hooper, but they also have these other weapons. They have Calvin Ridley and they have a super cute Mohamed Sanu. Are you liking the cheaper options on the Atlanta side, or are you going to be paying up?
I like them all. I mean, this is a situation like last week where Atlanta just has a great matchup. In this case, it's not because the other team is bad. It's because they're just going to have to pass the ball a ton and they're at home, so that could equal some big potential. So I think Julio Jones, though he's not exactly the best receiver in the NFL these days, I think he's up there and definitely can win a GPP every week. The guy I'm looking to the most, though, is Sanu, just because if I'm going to stack up more than one of these guys, that $13 price tag really makes that affordable.
Sanu has been quietly in a fairly integral part of this offense so far. He's seeing a lot of targets. He's been used more than Ridley, so I kind of like him at that price point as well. He was a value last week. Didn't quite deliver, I believe, last week. Just looking up his stats now. But, yeah, kind of disappointed with a 3 for 29 line. What about these quarterbacks? We have Matt Ryan, who's throwing the ball as much as anyone in the NFL. Jared Goff, who is on the road, has some home road splits. But this is Atlanta. It's a dome. I'm thinking that those home road splits are probably not the best way to go about declining to play Goff in a 54.5 total game. Which of these two do you like better? Oh. I think we've lost Alex's mic here.
My bad. Thanks. I'd go with Ryan preferentially, I guess, because he's a little bit easier to stack up with a guy like Sanu being cheap. And also, he just throws the ball so many times, a little bit more often than the Rams. So I think that number of attempts really gives him the upside you need this week.
Now let's head over to the running games here, because this is quite an interesting spot here. We have Devonta Freeman, who's one of your favorite value plays last week. He smashed and was a great cash game option. He has not been priced up at all on Yahoo. It's looking like pretty much the same price. You have him as a B for points and an A for value, $17. That's pretty good. How much Devonta Freeman are you going to get to this week?
I have to agree with you. I mean, it is insane value here. I mean, this is the number one running back on a team that is projected for 26 points this week. Even though they don't run the ball as much as some other teams, that's worth a lot. And I think I might have him a lot. When I just run a crunch with my projections and some randomness, I got him as my 5th highest owned running back, which kind of shows that you can build some nice lineups with him.
There you go. Yeah, far too cheap, I think, and should be one of your core cash plays, I believe, and good for GPPs as well, especially in game stacks. with Devonta Freeman's receiving prowess too. So what are we doing on the other side of the ball? Because this is really interesting. We got Gurley, who's limited participant. We got Malcolm Brown, who's did not practice, I believe, today. If both of those guys don't go, is it Darrell Henderson lock button week?
I like where your head's at there. I don't want to speculate too much on the injuries because I just really don't know. But I think $13 if they're down to one running back and maybe a practice squad guy, Darrell Henderson would be a great value.
Yeah, it looks like the recent report from Roto World is that I think he's on a good pace to hopefully play. Hopefully able to play on Sunday, according to Sean McVay. So my guess is we're probably going to see some sort of weird timeshare that makes all of these backs totally unusable. But at the same time, if any of them do set out, be sure to get ready to adjust your lineups come Sunday morning, because that's a great value if it's just one running back. I don't even know, like the Rams have John Kelly, so I don't know if they would. They have activated him from the practice squad, and I don't know if he would be kind of like that. Henderson would just still continue on in that third down back roll, but we've seen before that the Atlanta Falcons give up a lot of receptions to opposing running backs, and Henderson would be primed to do that. So any other final thoughts on this game? Is this your favorite game to stack this week? Game stacks, any general philosophy on how to stack this one up?
I think this one is a great game to stack because it makes up such a high percentage of the pot. I guess I should put this in terms of my top stacks tool, where I calculate the probability that each team has the best performance every week. I'll give you guys a little preview of what I came up with this week. But I mean, this is certainly the game of the week. On Yahoo, I have Atlanta with a 16% chance of being the top stack, and LA is second place with an 11% chance. So there's about a 27% chance the best stack comes from this game. And in an 11-game slate, that's a pretty good bet.
Oh, man, I love it. All right, I will be right there with you, firing up this game as much as I possibly can. Price points seem reasonable. There's going to be some unique combos in there. There you go. Let's move on to our second game of the day. I believe the second highest total is surprising, perhaps a little bit. The Arizona Cardinals visiting the New York Giants. Looks like the Giants are getting a little bit healthy. I think Ingram is supposed to go. Saquon Barkley is looking good to go. I'm going to get an update on Christian Kirk and Sterling Shepard right now. Just pulled that up. What are your general thoughts on this one? Are you liking this as much as the Vegas line does?
Yeah, I think anytime you have Arizona in there, that's a pretty appealing matchup because, first of all, they play pretty fast, and second, they're just not a good team defensively. So I think the Giants have a lot of potential here, and on the flip side, the Giants defense has really struggled this year too. So I think Arizona is also a really nice play, and I think these are also two of the elite teams this week.
Of course, we have the paced up option from the Arizona Cardinals side of things, running at the top in the top two pace stats in the entire NFL, and that's always good for opposing fantasy matchups. Saquon Barkley, $35, fully back, cheaper than Dalvin Cook. What's your take on him? Are you at all worried about that high ankle sprain?
I'm not worried about the injuries that much, but the bottom line is $35 is a lot to spend on any player, and the situation has to be completely optimal. I think this is a good situation, but I think he will take a hit with Daniel Jones at QB versus Eli Manning, because Eli Manning just didn't have any mobility. Daniel Jones is a much better scrambler, and I think that'll detract from Barkley's amount of volume in the passing game. Interesting
take. I like it. So we have Golden Tate on the Giants side of the ball. Speaking of Daniel Jones, we have his receiving group. Evan Ingram was out. Everyone was out against the Patriots last Thursday night, I believe. Yes, Thursday night. Sterling Shepard is out, but Golden Tate is back, and he looked dynamic in his first game back. $22. $20 on Yahoo. Not getting a great value from you.
Yeah, I think the Giants' passing just hasn't been that good this year. Daniel Jones is only averaging 6.6 yards per attempt. Eli Manning was about the same. So there is some reason to be pretty concerned here. but the matchup is good and there's some good talents. I think Ingram will take a hit with Golden Tate being in the lineup because Tate is a pretty high volume receiver. Um, with Shepard out or projected to be out this week because of his concussion, I think also Darius Slayton becomes an interesting play, and I take it he's probably pretty cheap. I see him at $14.
Yeah, $14. You have him as a B value. I like that call a lot because he's probably going to get a really high snap count and some high routes run total. Really interesting take on Evan Ingram there. I like what you said. I think that he's probably going to get some ownership across the board in DFS this week, just because the Arizona Cardinals have pretty much been a flowchart for opposing tight ends this week. They have the worst tight end defense in the entire NFL. But if what you're saying is true and the target share is going down for Ingram because he's essentially he's going to have to start sharing some targets with Golden Tate and with some of these other options, could be a great spot to fade.
Yeah, I think also Barkley being back kind of hurts him because tight ends usually get a lot of the shorter passes. Ingram's at 12 yards per catch. And that's also the spot, the part of the field where Golden Tate and Saquon Barkley operate. So I think that if everyone's thinking that Evan Ingram will just continue where he was before these guys were both in the lineup, I think they might be falling into a trap a little bit.
All right. Great stuff. Let's talk about the Arizona Cardinals side of the ball quickly. Kyler Murray, $30, getting a double A grade from you. A for points, A for value. We have Larry Fitzgerald, $23. Not a great value, but probably the focal point of this passing attack. Christian Kirk, questionable, is in line to play. He is $19. We also have David Johnson, who is heavily involved in the passing attack. Very cheap, $23. He is questionable, limited in practice, but I would expect him to play. It was the same story last week. They're probably just keeping him out as a precautionary measure. How are you attacking the Arizona Cardinals side of the ball here?
I think as far as the stack, I like Murray. The guys I pair him with are pretty much limited to Larry Fitzgerald and Christian Kirk if both are healthy. Last week we kind of went off the board with Keyshawn Johnson, and he actually was in the game most of the week, or most of the day, so I think that made a nice kind of sneaky play. I don't think he really did amazing, but
for whatever reason, these other Arizona wide receivers, they're on the field. They run 4 wide receiver sets at like a 95% clip, but they never seem to do anything outside of Larry Fitzgerald and Christian Kirk.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are getting targeted though. Like Keyshawn Johnson has gotten 31 this year so far.
Demarius Byrd, decent.
Yeah.
Gain, or Demir Byrd, sorry.
So they're getting targeted. I mean, that could equal a big game one of these weeks, but it's going to be pretty hard to predict them. And DFS salary cap games don't really allow you to choose those guys very easily because the minimum salary is usually pretty high and the opportunity cost. So I think just playing it safe and going to Fitzgerald or Kirk makes sense. Kirk, I think there is a lot of upside there because coming back from injury, he's kind of cheap. If he's a full go, then $19 would be a real bargain.
Absolutely, and we've seen the problems with this Giants secondary so far. They have some of the worst numbers in the entire NFL. Janoris Jenkins and Bradley Roby, I believe. Is that right? Hey, Antoine. DeAndre Baker, that's what I'm thinking of. DeAndre Baker has been really picked on this year, first round pick. So those two guys, pretty weak secondary, kind of like where your head is at there. This game could be a sneaky shootout. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Are you going to be stacking this one up a lot?
I think so. I mean, anytime Arizona's in a game, that makes some pretty interesting fantasy plays. And Daniel Jones, although I was commenting on how he hasn't been that efficient this year, is a good matchup. And if his ownership is low, I'm certainly not opposed to going to him.
I like it. It's a contrarian play, and you have the built-in rushing upside as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, he already won people a ton of money in his few starts. So I think this is, if there's any week where it's going to happen, this is probably the most likely.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we faced Washington, I think Minnesota and New England in back-to-back weeks. Those are some pretty pretty stifling defenses there for a rookie quarterback, and now he gets the advantage of going up against a better defense. Although I just realized our man Patrick Peterson back this week? I believe he might be. Not that really matters, but
well, it matters a little bit. I mean,
I can't remember. I can never keep track how long his suspension was. I thought it was 6 weeks. So.
Yeah. Man, it's crazy the suspensions in the NFL because like you expect them to be a full go when they get back, and there's guys like Chris Herndon. It's like all of this 4-week suspension. He apparently was injured anyway. So
Patrick Peterson is back. So there you go. Maybe a little upgrade for that Arizona Cardinals secondary.
Nice. Well, I mean, Cardinals defense wouldn't be crazy. Daniel Jones is throwing some picks here.
Oh, I like it. There's a little contrarian play too in the high total game. All right, let's move it on. We got about 10 minutes left before we start building some lineups. Our next game on the slate is the Baltimore Ravens visiting the Seattle Seahawks. 49.5 total. Third highest total game on the slate this week. What are your general thoughts on this one?
Well, let me throw this to you because I'm kind of curious your take here. I think Baltimore, man, with Lamar Jackson, they've been a really strong team. I see Seattle's favored by 3 here. Which team do you think is like a better team overall?
Man, it's funny. Like Ben and I were just talking about this on the betting show, and one of Jordan's picks this week was Baltimore plus 3.5 in Seattle, and both Ben and I agreed that neither one of us just had a good feel for either one of these teams. They both look fantastic at times, and they both look it's less so Seattle, but Baltimore has looked great in some games and just terrible in other games. So I don't really have any hot takes, but I will say that the pricing is pretty low for some of these wide receivers. We have Lockett at just $24 again.
Wow.
DK Metcalf at $16. There's no Will Dissly, so this could be a pretty concentrated offense as well. I haven't looked at the snap counts yet, but I'm guessing David Moore, if you want a little like really low owned flyer for GPPs, not a bad option. And then on the Baltimore side of the ball, I mean, Lamar Jackson can take off at any point with his legs. He's expensive and difficult to pair up, but we've seen it work with him and Mark Andrews all the time. So Marquise Brown is questionable, sidelined at Friday's practice. Doesn't look like he'll play. That means that you're probably looking at another Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews stack if you are taking that side of the game in GPPs. So those are my thoughts. I don't really know which way to go with it, but I'll bet you there's some fantasy goodness to be unearthed in this matchup.
Yeah, I think that Baltimore is a tough matchup as far as defense because of their offense, actually, because they're so good at running the ball, they take longer drives than other teams, and that means if you assume a game has like 130 plays or something, the more plays that Baltimore gets, that's fewer plays for Seattle. And that's kind of a knock against Seattle, but I like the matchup as far as Seattle having to actually like try to put up points here because Baltimore isn't a bad offense. And their defense, as far as yardage, has been pretty bad this year. So I'm pretty conflicted here. I think that both sides are pretty viable. Lamar Jackson we have as being very popular this week, which is kind of a knock against him. But he's a great fantasy player in his own right because of his rushing. And I gotta take a victory lap, man. I said he was like number 2 or 3 quarterback on the season long, and so far, man, he's been winning some leagues for people.
Nice, yeah, that was a great pick. I think, especially at where he was going in drafts, it was such a smart spot to grab him because there's just so much rushing upside to go along with the passing upside for season long.
Yeah, I think he had a game where he set a record recently, like 100 yards running and 250 passing or something. It was like the first time anyone had done it, so that's kind of
crazy.
Such
a joy to watch.
Yeah.
Seattle's been pretty good so far at defending opposing quarterback rushing yards, but obviously that is pretty matchup dependent, so I wouldn't read too much into it. Just looking at these Seattle snap counts right now, David Moore is way down the list, so I take back what I said there. It's too bad. I guess I kind of was high on him going into the season as a really late, deep season-long flyer, just with that big touchdown upside and big play upside. But not looking great now. Looks like this is the Lockett and Metcalf show. So one of the things I do like about the Seattle side of things is, I mean, one, the perception that the Baltimore defense is good, and it probably isn't all that good. Certainly hasn't been to this point this year. And then you have a really concentrated offense with Lockett, Metcalf, and Russell Wilson. So if Lamar Jackson's going to be popular, you take those two, you pair them up in a double stack, and then you can bring it back with Mark Andrews or another player, maybe like a Willie Snead or something like that, a Mark Ingram. I don't know, but yeah, that's this Seattle offense is looking good to me because I feel like it's getting more and more concentrated as the year's going on.
I like it, man. I think this game, the total of 48.5, maybe people will pass it over for some other game stacks of Arizona, Giants, or Rams, the Rams Atlanta. So I think this one is a great one to stack.
What are we looking at? Let's just review our pricing here. Lockett, $24. That seems like a pretty good bargain, hey?
Yeah, I think that's he's kind of like a second tier receiver, and 24 is kind of third tier pricing, so you're getting a discount there.
Absolutely, yeah. So we have him graded out as an A for points and a C for value. Some other some decent ones. DK Metcalf just $16. I feel like there's definitely some possibility that he could go off. He is not projecting out well for you though. D for points, D for value. Not super great spot there. Mark Andrews, I'm guessing, will be a bit of a contrarian play this week with some other tight ends on the board that we may not get to, but we may end up using in our lineups. All right, we got a few minutes left here before we start building some lineups. Let's go to the next highest total game on the slate, which I believe is the Indianapolis Colts hosting the Houston Texans. 48-point total. The Colts favored by 1 point right now. Is this like a recency bias spot? What are your thoughts here on this game? Because I could see this going a bunch of different ways.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think that it should be a great game. First of all, as you pointed out, that spread of 1. I mean, it's really a pick 'em. So Jacoby Brissett is not someone that I'm targeting really that much in DFS because he hasn't been running the ball quite as much as I'd like, and he hasn't been passing it as much as I'd like either. It just seems like Marlon Mack is getting a ton of running attempts, and they're running the ball almost 48% of the time. So not the greatest team to stack up, in my opinion. I'd probably be more willing to go to Houston because they got guys like Hopkins and Fuller that are good talents.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like some of these it's really weird to see like how DeAndre Hopkins, I think you should take another victory lap for your DeAndre Hopkins call earlier on in your season-long rankings. I'm sure you took a little bit of flack for that, having him down, but he hasn't really he finally saw his first game above 8 targets last week since week 1. But his average depth of target is just like within 3 yards of the line of scrimmage. I can't figure out why or how they're using him. So I don't know exactly what to do with him this week. He should see some he's still going to be a focal point of this offense. And then Will Fuller, I'm a little bit low on just because I feel like the Colts defense tries to limit big plays. They try to let guys work the field. So I feel like that's probably going to take something a little bit away from his bag of tricks there. And you're always hoping for that 80-yard touchdown with Will Fuller, and he's priced up a little bit. So I'm not super high on this game. It sounds like you aren't either.
Yeah, one interesting thing I'm seeing, I was right about Hopkins, but for the wrong reasons. So I got kind of lucky there because I was like, Kiki Kuti is going to be a main player this year, so Hopkins is going to have a lot of competition. I mean, he's barely played that much. They brought in Kenny Stills, who's been kind of they've been splitting the third wide receiver duties. But one thing I noticed is that they're running a lot of 2 tight end sets where both tight ends are running out for passing routes, and I mean that's a lot of guys running out for routes, so I expect Hopkins to be having a lot of competition to get the passes.
I like it. Just a little stat to back up my Fuller take there. Colts have only allowed 1 passing play above 40 yards this season, tops in the NFL, 25th in, 5th or 6th in targets of, or sorry, completions of over 20 yards allowed as well. So one of those defenses where you have to work the holes in the zone and try and it's not easy to take the top off. So all right, that brings us to our halfway point in the show. It is time to start building lineups. But first, tell us a little bit about some of the products we've got going on over at Awesomeo.com and why people should sign up.
Yeah, so I'm about to release this article, kind of taking everyone through my journey. So I'll kind of give you guys a sneak peek here. So like at first, I mean the projections, like just having more accurate projections was kind of my edge, and you can get access to these projections with the Awesomeo package and also for free on Fridays. So you should take advantage of that. And then I kind of realized, after meeting Tom Kennedy, Tom JK321, that ownership was like the next level in the game, and taking advantage of that, I really was able to up my game. And then finally, more recently, I kind of have been looking more toward the correlations because projection only tells you so much. You're looking for like spots where there's a lot of potential but not that much ownership. And that's why you can use my top stacks tool, which will tell you the probability that each stack will be the top scoring of the week. That kind of adds another layer beyond the projections and ownership to really give you an edge.
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense. So many things at play and so many things go into that. I think that we will be releasing that article pretty shortly. It looks like it's going to be a must read for anyone that plays DFS. And of course, that top stacks tool is so valuable. It's the first thing I look at when I'm building my lineups, just to kind of get a sense of who's going over owned and who's going under owned, and where those sort of kind of larger leverage points are in terms of how you're building your lineups. So super helpful. And if you're not a member, sign on up. We have express packages for $3.95 if you're a new DFS player just getting into it. Super cheap. That's a great value. And of course, they go up from there depending on how serious of a DFS player you are. All right, build some lineups.
Let's do it, man. Let's get this cash lineup going. Let's see what kind of cash games they have on Yahoo this week first. Have you been playing the 50-50s and double ups?
I normally just play GPPs.
Okay. So it looks like they got some decent 50-50s. I see this $109.60 person, which is a pretty good single entry if you want to put in a lot of money. But usually with these cash games, I'm looking for the more people, the better. So this $10 50-50, I mean, you probably want to go for the lowest dollar, but I get people complaining if I enter anything below like $5 or something. So I'll enter this $10 one here.
So this is the $10 double up?
$10 50-50, 100 teams.
I like.
Yeah, so usually with the double ups, I'll start with my projections. Really I optimize it in Cruncher, but the way I can kind of like figure out who the best cash plays are is by looking at the value of each player. So we had mentioned some guys already, like Fournette. Are there any cash locks this week in your opinion?
So just looking at your rankings, I feel like Fournette is definitely in the conversation there. One of my other locks, I think you're probably going to agree, is Darren Waller. He's just too cheap at tight end position, $18. He gets a really good projection, a really good value grade. I think you got a number of quarterbacks to choose from, but I do like the Kyler Murray, Josh Allen. Those are our only two double A graded quarterbacks on Yahoo, and both of them have rushing upside, which of course helps with the floor for cash games. So I'm happy going with either one of those guys. If you've got a gut feel as to which one you feel has the safer floor to go along with that upside, I am all ears.
I feel like Kyler Murray is a little bit safer because Buffalo, there is a kind of game script where they just don't have to throw the ball very much, and in that kind of game script where they're leading a lot, it probably won't be the quarterback running either. So I'd say Josh Allen's a little bit more of a GPP play for me. Kyler Murray is probably the cash option.
Absolutely, and like with the Bills 17 implied total, you're pretty much relying on Miami to actually do something that game, and I'm in agreement with you there. Like if that game gets out of hand, they're certainly not. Josh Allen's not going to be scrambling and throwing a lot, so they're probably just going to be handing the ball off. So yeah, Kyler Murray starter out right there. Pop in some. You got Leonard Fournette already in there.
Yep, I got Fournette, Waller, and Murray so far.
You're a-okay with my Waller take there. I feel like my Waller take was just really based off your rankings. So.
All right, let's go for defense here. Let's see the top value defense is.
Oh, I think we know where we're going here.
Andy Dalton.
I mean, you got the nice old school running back defense correlation play.
Oh, nice.
The Jaguars are cheap. The question here is though, I mean, for cash games, you don't worry about it, but we'll get to ownership. I'm guessing that is going to be far and away the most popular defense on this slate.
Yeah, and actually one way you can build a cash lineup is you just look at ownership projections and you pick the most popular guys from each position. So that's kind of a good approach in cash, where usually the consensus plays are the best plays.
Yeah, that's a really good point. When you do that, you're not worried at all. You're just worried about the differentiation points and the other, or you're worried about other people making mistakes, I guess, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Highest implied total lineup, and everyone else can make their mistakes on their own, and you don't worry about ownership.
Exactly. I mean, that's the whole premise of a 50-50 is you're hoping that other guys will make mistakes and make some bad plays. So. That's how you make money doing them.
All right. I'm just running some crunches here using your projections, and I'm liking what I'm seeing here. There's some interesting spots here. What do we got? So we need 3 wide receivers, a flex, and a running back. Should we pop in Tyler Lockett?
Yes, I like Lockett this week for sure. $24, as you're pointing out, that's pretty cheap for him. And also with Will Dissly out, I mean, that's just some more targets that might go his way.
All right, popping him in. $24. We got $20 left over. Sorry, 20 per player.
We might need to get some value players in here.
Yeah, I think we do. Let's take a look. So Devonta Freeman, $17.
Okay, that's a lock for cash for sure.
Yeah, seems like that's a good way to go here. Looks like we've got a lot of values already lined up. What about this might be more of a GPP play actually, but Chris Thompson, $10. That's not very much. It's not very much money in a game that should favor him in a positive game script. But we can talk about that when it comes to GPPs.
Well, I think he's very questionable this week unless there were some updates. So it's kind of like
yes. You were right. So he's still sitting out practice, sat out practice Thursday. Looks like Wendell Smallwood would be the greatest benefactor of that one. So
yeah. I think we mentioned one guy, Sanu. I mean, $13, like that's insanely cheap. So I like that.
Yeah, Sanu has been really remarkably consistent this year, getting over 8 points, between 8 and 13 fantasy points on Yahoo. 4 out of the 6 weeks that he's played. So seems like a great cash game play right there.
Yep.
$23 left. Let's take a look here.
Let's see.
So one guy that stands out as a little bit too cheap is David Johnson, $23.
Oh wow, that is really cheap. Especially given the matchup versus the Giants. That's pretty nice. There were some concerns about his injury, but from what I saw last week, I mean, Chase Edmonds was in the game a good amount, but not enough to justify $23 for David Johnson.
Now, how about your boy Zeke Elliott at $28? Is that more of a GPP play?
$28 for Zeke.
So cheap, right?
Yeah, man, that's hard to avoid. But we need another wide receiver in here, and then we can kind of tinker with it.
So we got how much? We got an average of $23 left over.
Well, I put in. Let's see. I have David Johnson in the flex here, and now we have $30 at wide receiver.
Oh, sorry, I forgot about Devonta Freeman. I am one step behind you.
That's not good.
Yeah, so we need one wide receiver, $30. We got Keenan Allen in a not so great matchup. T.Y. Hilton, $29. Adam Thielen, questionable Michael Gallup. Who's DJ Chark? Who's standing out to you?
Well, DJ Chark stands out to me at that price range for sure.
How
Not
do
in
we
a
get
good
how do we
way.
get this extra dollar and get up to Julio?
It's a good idea, man. We mentioned how much we like him this week, so I think we can make that work.
We'll pop in another defense.
Yeah, let's take a look at this bargain bin zone. Dallas versus Philadelphia. That's not a bad price for them.
Yep.
There, we could go with the Cardinals defense actually.
I like it. Yeah, let's do that. Peterson back. It's going to be a high event game. Daniel Jones, rookie quarterback.
I think
it's possible.
It's a good cost saver right there.
Beautiful.
Also, the Bills defense is really jumping out at me, but they're $20, so we could have to make some serious cuts.
Well, we could always pair up some Bills, get some Bills lineups going in our GPP lineups as well.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
All right, there's your cash lineup: Kyler Murray, Leonard Fournette, David Johnson, Tyler Lockett, Mohamed Sanu, Julio Jones, Darren Waller. Love that Darren Waller. He's way too cheap. Devonta Freeman.
You got the contract bump too.
Although, are you at all worried that we have 3 Atlanta Falcons in this cash lineup?
No, I mean we don't have the quarterback, so I'm not as worried because one of them is going to get the ball. It doesn't really affect the others.
All right.
I see I have 52,000 YSRPs here, man. How many do you get again for signing up? That's not bad.
You get $30 worth of YSRPs, I believe.
Okay, so that's like 6,000 YSRPs. That'll get you 3 of these double ups here.
Oh my God, you're set.
Yeah, it's like you put in the $30, you enter 3 double ups, and now you have on average $60. So that's an easy way to make $30 right there.
I like it. All right, should we move on and fire up some GPPs?
Yeah, I'm liking this baller here. $10, 25K. That's not bad.
All right, let's clear that one. So we talked a little bit about quarterback and about how Kyler Murray is the safer floor. Have we got ownership out yet, or you got any ideas about where you're going in terms of your top stacks? Oh, I think your mic's off again.
Sorry. What I'm looking at is Green Bay. I think the Zebras will really help them out again versus Oakland.
Oh my God, you better Lions fan.
Yeah, I'm guilty as charged, but Aaron Rodgers is less than 5%. If Devontae Adams or Geronimo Allison is out, that should open up some nice value for that stack. I like the Rams, as we mentioned. It looks like Jared Goff is only 4% projected owned. And then if you want to be really, really off the wall, I think going with some Minshew maybe and sacking up some Jags.
Man, I love that call. I love it. This is a possible sneaky shootout spot.
Which way do you want to go here?
Well, we can do more than one. We could even do a few. The thing I'm worried about with Green Bay is who's playing wide receiver for them? Devontae Adams is out. Valdez Scantling is sidelined at today's practice. Geronimo Allison is sidelined at today's practice. Is it your boy, Alan Lazard?
Yeah, that's a funny story of how he became my boy. I actually at one point Jamal Williams was in my spreadsheet and then he was ruled out and I had to put it in someone else. I put in Alan Lazard. And I changed it in one place and not the other, so I was posting Jamal Williams' projection as Alan Lazard. And it turned out Alan Lazard actually did better than that projection somehow. So anyone who made their lineups using my projections earlier in the day and didn't think about that at all, maybe they won some money.
They accidentally banked. Yeah, so I saw this and I saw Lazard at I was getting him in 55% of my crunches. I'm like, this guy's one target all year. There's something off here. So I DM'd you and you're like, yeah, this is a mistake. I alert the chat and I'm like, listen guys, there's a mistake here. Lazard is not supposed to be, so you might just want to X him out of your lineups. Well, that did not go over well when he scored that 35-yard touchdown. I got a lot of flack, and the conspiracy theories have been flowing ever since. So.
Well, it was really the zebras again because it looked.
Yeah, he was a yard short.
Yeah. Yeah, I think. Well, now that Devontae Adams is out, though, the most expensive receiver is only $16, and that's even if he plays because he didn't practice today. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, so I think somebody's going to catch the ball, and Aaron Rodgers is too good to not have a good chance here at making it work.
Yeah, it's a really good contrarian move, and I think especially because the Oakland defense isn't anything to write home about really. Green Bay at home. But I'm a little bit worried about it. I'm not going to lie to you. I feel like this receiving group is pretty weak to begin with, and then they're banged up on top of it. But do you want to build one sneaky? Oh, and Aaron Rodgers is questionable, but I'm sure he'll be fine.
Well, I think this is too early in the week to build a Green Bay stack. We just don't know who's going to play, so let's move on.
That's a good point. Let's fire up a G Money Minshew.
All right, let's see how that looks, man.
I'm assuming that D.D. Westbrook and DJ Chark will be in it.
Yeah, DJ Chark at $24. That's classic Pip to be contrarian. And if Chark and Westbrook both score a touchdown each, and Gardner Minshew maybe throws 2 to one of them, that could be a nice contrarian play because everyone else is going to be on Fournette.
What about Chris Conley as a possible contrarian play as well? Only 3, 4, 3, 5, 7 targets. He hasn't done much so far this year, but he is getting snaps and he is running routes. He actually led the wide receiver group in offensive snaps last week.
Yeah, I don't hate it, but let's see. He has 25 targets on 209 routes, so this is not a guy who really gets targets at a high volume, which is a red flag for me because it's not like he can see the field anymore and he's still not getting the targets. But I think that he would be a very contrarian play in my opinion.
But that's that D.D. Westbrook for just $2 more. Let's review his targets: 6'5", 9, 6'11", 8. So great point there. D.D. Westbrook much safer play here, running out of the slot, getting targeted way more often. So G Money, Westbrook, DJ Chark. Who are we bringing it back with?
Oh man, AJ Green. Well, I guess he's not playing this week. Dang.
Still rehabbing.
There's so much information coming out here. Okay. Oh, I guess my predictions are updated for this. So I think Boyd is pretty viable.
Still cheap.
He's been terrible, but it's not for lack of targets. He has 60 on the year. That's an average of 10 every single week. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah.
And then if you want to go really off the board, Alex Erickson at $10. He's supplanted the John Ross position in the lineup, I guess. Or actually, let's see. Damian Willis was getting a lot of Ross early in the season, but now it's Alex Erickson, and he has 15 targets, and he hasn't played that much, so that'd be someone I consider.
Yeah, I like that. Super cheap, but I don't know if does he have that? The last time I asked you this, it was Danny Amendola in week 1. Does he have that GPP winning upside?
Yeah, I mean, any wide receiver really does, but I don't think he has as much upside as Tate or Boyd, probably.
All right, I'm okay with firing up Boyd here, but your call.
Yeah, let's do it. I think that people will be very hesitant to click that button.
Of course, this means we will probably not be loading Leonard Fournette into this lineup.
Nah, I think that you do have to get pretty lucky for all these guys to hit this week.
Fair enough. Do we want to let's shift over to running back here?
All right,
so we got the passing game stack all loaded up. No Leonard Fournette, so we got top option. I'm guessing Zeke Elliott. I'm guessing that Devonta Freeman is still going to be in play here.
Yeah, let's put him in. I think Zeke Elliott at 28. That's like $12 less than the start of the season. Dalvin Cook is 40 somehow. That is peculiar. That would
I know.
be.
That's the first thing that stood out to me. I'm like, how is Dalvin Cook $40?
Yeah.
The Lions. So there's your pay up to be contrarian play. I can't imagine too many people are going to be doing that.
Yeah, I think our lineup is so contrarian. We could just go with the chalk, go with Waller at tight end. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then flex, we got. We have to decide. Do we want to go chalk at defense or?
I think why don't we go Bills?
I like it, man. I mean, Tannehill. Fitzpatrick. I don't think he's that good at ball security, so could definitely work out.
Absolutely. And then we got $30 left, looks like, for a flex spot. Yikes. Yeah. Nothing too good down here. What do you think?
Keenan Allen is it seems like a decent price, but the matchup isn't good. Chris Carson. That's interesting. Let's see what I think if Penny is back this week, he might take a hit to his work.
So now, when you're hand building a lineup like this, and you come up and you're like, man, like I don't really like these remaining options at this price. Let's just say for that example, would you then like say, all right, Bills defense, you had a good run, good 30-second defense spot, but let's pay up for someone else and go somewhere else at D.
Let's do it. We can get Saquon Barkley at 35 if we get Jacksonville.
Oh yeah. Jacksonville D, even though we have the game stack.
Oh, that's right. That's a good
Eagles
point.
or Dallas. I really like. I don't know what your projections say, but that Dallas. Oh, but then we have Zeke Elliott too. So I don't know if that's a non-correlated play too.
Well, I mean, Chargers versus Ryan Tannehill.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he hasn't played a game this year, so I think that could be a nice little play.
I like it. I like it a lot.
All right. Do you think we should submit this?
I'm submitting it.
All right, I'll see it, man. Split this $25K with you.
Beautiful. And like 14 other people.
Yeah, so I actually looked, and about 10 people entered our lineup last week. So, wow. You be prepared to split it. If you make a one-off or two, and you'll be good.
We're DFS influencers.
It's the name of the game, man.
Instagram account.
Yeah, I gotta take a screenshot and post it to Insta here.
That'd be a fun way to throw people off. All right, what's our next one here? So Josh Allen's kind of one of those tough ones to stack up. I don't know how you feel about him in GPPs. Who are you targeting here for your quarterback position in GPPs?
I think this is all about ownership. So I think one of the top teams that we mentioned, the quarterback is very low owned, and that's Goff at between 4% and 5%. I mean, I'm gonna keep an eye on that between now and Sunday, because certainly it could change. But based on our projections now, I mean, that's a snap. Lock it in.
That's amazing. Should we go for the possibly contrarian Goff, Woods, Cook stack for the super low prices?
I like it, man. I think that's your best bet.
Now, who are we bringing this back with? I mean, we could full game stack this, really go Devonta Freeman and a wide receiver here.
That's a good point, man. I like Freeman. I think that Sanu makes a lot of sense in that, because then we can just get anyone we want in the rest of the lineup pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's going to be like, if you're game stacking and you're going Goff, Cooks, Woods, not bringing it back with Julio, that's going to be pretty contrarian in GPPs, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and Freeman and Sanu equal more production in total than Julio individually, so you get more correlation too. I
like it for a cheap price point. So we have I think this is our first almost full game stack here. I like it.
Yeah.
Bring it back with two.
I think we got a good core here to build off of.
Nice. So are we still popping in Waller? What are there any other tight end options that stand out to you with other than Waller this week?
No, only Waller.
All right, how about this? It's
Let's.
downgraded to limited in Thursday's practice.
Well, I think that Mark Andrews without Marquise Brown is pretty
Yeah,
appealing. Hunter
yeah,
Henry, of course, had a huge game returning from injury. Zach Ertz, 22, that's pretty low for him. So I think Kittle as well, a good matchup versus the Redskins.
yeah.
Pretty much any of these
Your
guys.
call. Who do you want to go with here?
I'll go with what you were saying earlier, Mark Andrews. I think that if Marquise Brown's out this week, he should make a really nice play.
Nice. So we got $24 left. I'm guessing, are we paying down a little D? Are we going for the Bills again and seeing what happens?
Let's go with the Bills, see what happens. Let's say.
All right, $53, $26 left over. Were there some other great top values on the slate? Let me just pull up our
How
top.
about we run it back with last week, man? Pick Melvin Gordon. Dude, everyone is so down on him, like, because he's been kind of stinking the past couple games. But we know that guy's a stud. Or do
All
we?
right, I like it. What's his snap count at? Is he moving on up and Eckler moving on down?
Yeah, let me pull it up on PFF here.
Oh man, $21 for Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect that when I drafted him in the 5th round of season long. I'll tell you that. Okay,
Nice.
so the snap counts last week: Melvin Gordon 37, Eckler 28. They actually were on the field at the same time on occasion.
Nice.
Gordon got 8 runs, Eckler got 5. Gordon ran 29 routes, Eckler ran 21.
Obviously not a great game script for the Chargers. They were down early and just never were able to recover. This is a tough matchup against the Tennessee Titans and their run defense, but opportunity and price trump matchup every time. So as well, the other thing I like about Poppin and Gordon is it gives us enough money to spend up to one of your top values on the slate. A little guy named Leonard Fournette.
Man, I've never heard of him.
I was looking up just snap counts for the year, and it's like, let me pull this stat up really quick. It's kind of crazy, but it's like McCaffrey, 90. Let's go here. So it's McCaffrey, 96, Le'Veon Bell, 92, Fournette, third at 91.4, and then it drops off 10% to Zeke Elliott at 79.6%, which is just nuts. That's a huge drop off from those top 3.
Yeah, for real. All right. Well, I think if we didn't win the 25K already, I think this will do it for us.
This is like, it's going to happen one of these weeks, and then we're going to come on here. We're going to be like wearing Yahoo gear, just throwing dollar bills around. It's going to be great.
We're going to be ballers.
Yeah. So tell us, actually, I totally missed this segue, and we should have segued earlier on. We have someone from Yahoo joining us this week on the contrary.
Man, that's great. Who are we talking about here?
Talking about a little guy named Matt Harmon. He is joining you and Chris Baggs tomorrow. We're excited to have him on the show. So set your alarm clocks, 2 o'clock Eastern time. Did I get that time right? I feel like I messed it up about half the time. 2 o'clock Eastern time. You guys are going to break down the entire slate. Matt just seems like I haven't actually met him, but he just seems like a great guy. Really looking forward to watching that show tomorrow.
Yeah, man, legend of the industry here. I'm gonna have to up my game.
I like it. All right, that is going to do it for us. Any final thoughts, Alex? Any tips for the Yahoo playing public out there?
Yeah, just Yahoo. I think if you're not playing this baller and if you're the type of player who's putting in maybe less than $1,000 a weekend, which is probably most people, right? Like, I think that Yahoo is probably one of the places you want to put your money first because you're just going to see a better return on that money than other sites.
100%. All right, that's going to do it for us here. We will be back tomorrow. The NFL Strategy Show is on, as always, at 11 Eastern Time. Jake Hurry and I will be back in roughly 2 hours to break down the NHL slate tonight. If you're jonesing for some DFS action and you're still waiting for the NBA to start up, so we've got you covered there. We've had an interesting start to the season with these new DraftKings scoring as well. So as well, Yahoo has some great NHL contests which I've been playing on. So head on over to there and play some Yahoo fantasy hockey too. Thanks so much for joining us, and we will see you next week, same time, same spot.